you're one of the pages that I really pay attention to on Instagram, because you always have something insightful and something great to say. Let's just start there. Like, what about you, or what about in your background that made you such a positive and insightful person?
Well, thank you very much, and I'm really glad to hear it. We do our best to what we call fight the craft weed revolution, because I and the people at Southland Farms really believe that getting access to clean, green, organic cannabis is everybody's right, and we should really do everything we can to make sure that that's available. And Michigan is such a great state for cannabis that we're here to celebrate it. And quite frankly, I try to bring a lot of energy to the Instagram and everything we do in the shop, because it's weed, right? And we should be happy we're working in this industry. There's a lot of it's not like we're going into the coal mine every day and working in the coal mine. So even on our tough days, it's still weed. One of the things that we have on the back door of the shop when you're walking in for the staff is this little sign that says "Smile, we're selling weed." Because for my life, almost 40 years, I was smoking weed and buying it, waiting in the parking lot, or going and waiting for people. A lot of bullshit, a lot of shame involved, a lot of difficulty just to get what I was looking for to help myself mentally and physically, right? And now that we have it legal, I want to make sure that everybody has access to it, and not just clean. Legal weed is great. Clean, organic is even better, and we want to make sure people have access to that too.
So, as someone that I'm gonna go back to something that you said, that that was in an era where weed wasn't accessible to now being in an era where weed is so accessible, and weed is one of the mainstays of our economy. I mean, because in the pandemic, churches, all type of businesses were closed, but dispensaries were open. So just kind of like reflect on that, like being able, coming from your era where in the beginning it wasn't legal and you kind of had to like hide and could kind of not be yourself, to point out where weed is everywhere.
Absolutely. I think we're living right now in the golden age of cannabis, right? Because it's legal in many states, and the quality, there's all levels of quality on the market, but you can go and get some of the best weed ever grown in the history of the planet right now, right? So it's really awesome. I'll tell you, when I remember real clearly, I started smoking cannabis. Well, I never called it cannabis back then, but I smoked weed in September of 1986 was when I first started doing that. And then in the fall of 1988, I started taking the train to New York, picking up not huge amounts of weed, but enough weed to pay for us to smoke weed for free, right? Which is, I think, how lots and lots of people were in the weed game. And I was lucky. I had one small arrest, but got out of college, got into the non-weed world, still smoked weed all the time. Right. But, had to keep that undercover, because in the 90s, the notion of legal cannabis outside of California for medical use was just a fantasy.
Yeah, no, really. It was not believable.
It was a fantasy. And so we had to keep it quiet. People would use it, to screw you over in the professional world too. Right. I had one colleague of mine who was trying to get ahead at work, and so went to the boss and said that I was a drug addict because I smoked weed, right? And this was like 1998, so it was 97, 98, so it was still, I could have been fired for smoking weed. Right. Instead, I had a boss who was focused on winning, right? And he said, well, it doesn't seem like it's affecting your work, so don't let it affect your work, and keep doing a good job, and keep it to yourself, basically. But now it's totally different, right? Yeah. And I think that is so wonderful, right? Because not only do people not have to, so many people smoke cannabis because they're looking to get some kind of relief, right? Physical relief from pains that they have, or mental relief. A lot of people for mental relief, right? And it's instead, during the dark days, people would feel shame that they were going to that, and they were trying to pump you full of pharmaceutical drugs. And so now it's different, and every day we want to make sure, we work to make sure that people know that, there's options here, right, and there's places to come where you can get friendly conversation, not trying to sell you the most expensive stuff, but trying to help you find the relief you're looking for, because this plant, in my view, is a gift from nature that for thousands of years was one of the main ingredients in the medicine man's bag, right? And then for 100 years, we've had the making it illegal, mostly for business purposes, right? Competition from alcohol, competition from the powers that be that wanted to, not allow a continuing backlash after the end of alcohol prohibition. And so for 100 years, science was stopped. Everybody was told it was bad. But now people are starting to realize, holy cow, there's so many things that this plant can help you with.
Right.
And that's why one of the things I'm really passionate about is helping people grow the plant themselves. Because everybody in Michigan, thankfully, under the Michigan law, you can grow 12 plants at your home, no problem. And we have started a home grow club at Southland Farms, where we give out the seeds for free, and then they can get online and do their Zoom with us once a month, and then they have videos that I send them and things like that. Because growing great weed takes work and attention,
right?
But growing cannabis to be able to use as medicine, especially if you're looking to make topicals and other things for physical pain, it doesn't take very much. Anybody can do it.
Right.
Anybody who wants to in Michigan now could start, and before Christmas they would have balm and other things to be able to make pretty much guaranteed.
Right.
And so that's one of the things we really like to try to do is help people, take away that stigma of the past, right?
Right.
And let people really embrace the magic that this plant has to offer.
Right.